future law students. Welcome to the Law in Focus. I'm Charu Deb, a Yale Law School and MIT graduate turned intellectual property litigator. This is our first video in the LSAT training series. In this video, we'll be diving into the structure of the LSAT exam. Understanding the test format is crucial for effective preparation. So let's get started. The LSAT, or Law School Admissions Test, is a standardized test required for admission to most law schools in the United States and Canada. It's designed to assess key skills needed for success in law school. In addition to your undergraduate GPA, your LSAT score can be the single biggest determinant of your law school admissions prospects. If you've already graduated from college, you can't really do anything about your undergrad GPA at this point. But the good news is the LSAT is mostly within your control at this stage. Today, we're going to go over the structure of the LSAT. In future videos, we'll go over specific test-taking strategies. Many law schools also accept the GRE. The GRE is a different standardized exam that tests a broader range of skills. The GRE can also be used for applications to other graduate programs, while the LSAT is specific to law schools. We'll discuss the pros and cons of each test in a later video. So back to the LSAT. The LSAT consists of 4 35-minute sections, 2 sections of logical reasoning, 1 section of reading comprehension, and 1 variable section that is unscored, which could be either logical reasoning or reading comprehension. The logical reasoning sections test your ability to analyze and evaluate arguments. You'll encounter about 24 to 26 questions per section, so a max of 1 minute and 20 seconds per question. It's best to aim for 1 minute per question, though, so you have enough time left over to return to very difficult or lengthy questions, and also to check your work. The logical reasoning section focuses on skills like identifying the main point of an argument, recognizing assumptions and flaws in reasoning, and drawing logical conclusions. The reading comprehension section tests your ability to read and understand complex texts. You'll encounter 4 passage sections, each followed by 5 to 8 questions. One of the 4 sections is typically a comparative reading with 2 shorter related texts. There will be a mix of questions about each individual passage and some comparing and contrasting the 2 passages. The subject matter of the passages varies. It can be history, science, really anything. Even if you're not an engineer or a history buff, you can improve on this section. Regardless of the topic, the passages usually follow a predefined structure, and with the strategies we'll go over and enough practice, you'll know how to tackle any passage on test day. The unscored variable section is used by the LSAC, which is the organization that administers the LSAT, to test new questions or assess questions for difficulty. It can either be logical reasoning or reading comprehension. So you'll end up with either 3 logical reasoning sections and 1 reading comprehension section, or 2 of each. On test day, you'll have no idea which section is unscored. So it's very important to treat every section like it's being scored. There are dozens of real LSAT tests released by the LSAC, including a free test from June 2007, which I'll link below. When people take practice tests when studying, it's a common pitfall to rely too heavily on the structure already in a given practice test. So instead of taking a single test from 2018, for example, all the way through in one sitting, you should really be mixing and matching sections from different practice tests to make sure to practice with different variations of the 3 logical reasoning, 1 reading comprehension section versus the 2 of each section that you might see in the real LSAT. In addition to the actual substantive material, it's super important to build up your stamina so you're not blindsided on test day. There's also a separate writing section called argumentative writing. This is not scored, but does get sent to law schools, and a writing sample is needed for LSAC to consider your LSAT score complete. If you already have a writing sample on file from a previous administration, you don't need to retake the writing section. For decades, the writing section was a pretty formulaic, logical reasoning structure where you had to advocate for one side or another in a dispute. Starting from July 30th of 2024, LSAC rolled out a completely new form of writing assessment. In this new writing section, you'll be presented with a debatable issue along with 3 or 4 perspectives that provide more context on the issue. Each of those will be about 3 to 4 sentences and represent competing systems of beliefs or values. You will have to draft an argumentative essay where you take a position on the issue while addressing some of the arguments and ideas presented by the other perspectives. You will have 15 minutes for pre-writing analysis, where you can take notes inside of the LSAC digital test portal, and 35 minutes for essay writing. I recommend you split the writing time up. 32 minutes for drafting, and 3 minutes for proofing. The writing section opens up 8 days before the multiple choice test and can be taken remotely. You can use LSAC's Law Hub portal to get familiar with the interface. Apart from spell check, all other computer-aided writing tools like generative AI or even grammar checkers will be disabled. While this section is unscored, because this is really one of the only opportunities for law schools to see how you write without any assistance, it's important to make sure that your writing sample is solid. The LSAT also used to have a section called Analytical Reasoning, or more commonly called the Logic Games. Starting from the August 2024 sitting, the Logic Games section has been removed. The dozens of real LSAT practice exams and most outdated test prep materials will have sections for analytical reasoning. Feel free to skip over those. Those skills are not transferable to the other sections. The LSAT hasn't seen such big changes like taking out the logic games and totally revamping the writing section for many years. So it's important that you're up to date with your test prep materials. I'll be publishing videos on the latest test changes and the latest format, so make sure you're subscribed to get my new LSAT training content. The LSAT is scored on a scale of 120 to 180 based on the number of questions you answer correctly. There's no penalty for wrong answers, so it's always better to guess than to leave a question blank. Understanding the LSAT structure is the first step in preparing for this crucial exam. In our next videos, we'll dive deeper into strategies for each section. Remember, with the right preparation, you can master the LSAT. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can get my latest LSAT prep videos. Thanks for watching and good luck with your LSAT journey.